We all have opinions, ideals, ways we think the world works, and many times, ways we think it should. These ideals and opinions form our biases and shape how we see the world. This can be something as simple as having a bad feeling about someone just based on how they look. Keeping in theme with last week's video, today we're going to be talking about a few internal factors that can limit the overall accuracy of your deductions. Now, at its very best, deduction is around 80% accurate, give or take, and for most people it is much lower than this, as to achieve such mastery one has to put years of hard focused training into this skill. However, there are a few internal factors at play that can lower your overall accuracy, if not put in check, one of the major ones being your biases. Now, before we can fully understand biases, we need to understand intuition. Basically, what intuition is your subconscious mind making connections and inferences that your conscious mind does not. Now, the subconscious is tied to emotional responses and other involuntary actions of the body. In addition, while the conscious mind speaks in the language of logic and reasoning, our subconscious speaks in the language of images. Now, our subconscious is also a vast depth of information that is stored in a different way than in our conscious mind. In addition to this, the subconscious mind can even multitask without sacrificing performance, unlike the conscious mind. With all these aspects of itself, the subconscious can make connections about information that it has observed and cross-reference them with prior stored data, much like we do consciously with our deductions, all without your conscious mind even being aware of it. When your subconscious has come up with its conclusion, you will be alerted in the only way it knows how to alert you, through the form of a gut feeling or other similar feeling. This is, in essence, what intuition is. Indeed, our subconscious mind is a very powerful tool, however, there is a fairly large margin for error concerning intuitive conclusions, depending on a certain number of factors. While your subconscious is good at taking in large amounts of information and using them in tandem, it is rather indiscriminate as to what information it actually uses. It could potentially use memories you have of one person to judge another person, simply based on the premise that they share a resemblance. Say, for instance, you are sitting at a local diner, having just finished your late breakfast when a friend of yours unexpectedly walks in and notices you. They then proceed to introduce you to the person that is with them. You take one look at this person and get a bad feeling about them. Your intuition is getting a negative read on this person, not because it sees anything inherently wrong with them particularly, but because they bear a resemblance to someone you are not too fond of. This same mechanism can act in the opposite way and construe your judgments to view a person in a positive light, simply because they bear a resemblance to someone you know to be admirable. These are things we would obviously try to avoid when making a conscious judgment, but our subconscious is unable to make such distinctions. Thus, we end up being biased against this new person despite not having made a conscious effort to get to know them. This bias will undoubtedly interfere with any deductions you try and make about the person. It is possible with certain techniques applied that we will go into in future videos that you can train your subconscious intuition to aid you in problem solving, but left on its own, its accuracy is rather hit or miss. With this established, we can now delve into how to guard your mind from biases. Now, not all biases are subconscious, many are actually the nature of opinions that we have on the world and of different major issues. Many of these issues we feel very strongly about. And therein lies the key word. We feel. When trying to make informed decisions or deductions, we don't want our emotions to influence our conclusions. Now, bear in mind, it is not wrong to have informed opinions about the world. Faith, beliefs, philosophies, they all have their place. They are the answers to questions that humans are curious about that can't simply be answered by rational thought or experimentation. And that's okay, we can't solve everything by rationalizing it or looking at it under the microscope. There is a time and place for everything. However, when we are dealing with a rational field, such as deduction, the process of drawing conclusions about things and people in the physical world through observation, reasoning, and cross-referencing of subsequent theories with verified data, this is a field which strictly deals with what can be seen. Even Sherlock Holmes himself never denied the possibility of the metaphysical, but conceded that it was not a field suited to him, as seen in Conan Doyle's novel, Sherlock Holmes, the Hound of the Baskervilles, when Henry Baskerville consults him on the case. I believe in this case, Holmes sums up the point that I'm trying to make much better than I ever could. Yes, the setting is a worthy one if the devil did desire to have a hand in the affairs of men. Then you are yourself inclined to the supernatural explanation? The devil's agents may be of flesh and blood, may they not? There are two questions waiting for us at the outset. The one is whether any crime has been committed at all. The second is what the crime is and how it was committed. Of course, if Dr. Mortimer's surmise should be correct, and we are in fact dealing with the forces outside the ordinary laws of nature, there is an end to our investigation. But we are bound to exhaust all other hypotheses before falling back upon this one. None of this means that you have to divorce yourself from ever thinking outside of the physical, but when dealing with making a deduction, remember that you are dealing with something in the physical, and thus evaluate it as such. This person you are meeting for the first time is in the here and now, in the physical, what can be observed. In this sense, your opinions don't matter. They are a liability, not an asset. Preconceived assumptions about the world can lead you to misconstrue the evidence to fit this idealistic view of reality, thereby causing you to draw an incorrect conclusion. So, what can you do to eliminate these biases when making deductions or even when in a debate? There are some physical and mental things you can do to control your thoughts and not let your consciously drawn conclusions be heavily influenced by your subliminal biases. Number 1. Have a natural skepticism of your gut feelings. If you inherently question your intuition, not only are you exercising your knowledge of its influence over you, with training you can mentally block it once you consciously recognize it. Number 2. Control your breathing. When you begin to go against your intuition or are confronted with something that contradicts your biases, a common physiological reaction is for your breathing to shallow as your windpipe and chest tighten. By taking in deep breaths, you are going against the physical reaction you have to the information, thereby giving you more control over your thoughts on the matter. In addition, it is controlling your heart rate. By slowing down your heart through controlling your breath, you influence the physiological reactions that come as a result of your emotions, thereby lessening their effect. Now, although there's a lot of practice and training that goes into being able to control your thoughts and emotions on a regular basis, these two techniques do provide a good start for you being able to return to a rational evaluation of evidence so that you can draw more accurate conclusions and make better, more well-rounded and objective deductions about people and situations. Again, this does not mean that you have to completely divorce yourself from ideals, beliefs that you might have, but it does mean that you recognize the effect that they have on you, how you see the world, and in general, that can help you get to know yourself better. And in addition to, of course, being able to help you be more objective. So, this is how you can effectively eliminate the negative effects that your biases have on you and your work. Before you go, if you're new to the channel and you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe. Also, leave a comment down below if you learned something new here today, and give it a like if you found the information helpful. And if you absolutely love what I do here, be sure to share this video on all your social media platforms. Thanks for watching, everyone. Arrivederci.